Welcome into 49ers Access. My name is Sterling Bennett, and today we're going to recap day number 6 and day number 2 of pads at San Francisco 49ers training camp. We're going to get into Brock Purdy's day. There was some really good stuff, a massive deep ball throw downfield. You're not going to want to miss the conversation for that. Also, Nick Bosa has looked borderline unstoppable. Let's talk about his day in the show as well. But we're going to start things off with the injuries because there was a lot of them. And before we get to them, I want to ask you to like, share, and subscribe. And let's dive into day 6 of Niners training camp. Again, a lot of injuries already. Rookie Pearsall did not practice. He has the hamstring. He's back fully healthy. He had himself a veteran rest day today. You can tell they are taking things very slow with him. He came back, practiced for 2 days. The first day of pads looked awesome. Didn't practice today. And it seems like they want to, like many of their veteran players, keep their important players, if you will, rested and hopefully healthy for week 1 of the regular season. Jennings, though, a much bigger concern in my eyes, did not practice for a second consecutive day. He couldn't finish practice a couple days ago, didn't practice yesterday, and did not practice today. He has a calf injury. They are downplaying this. I don't believe them. I think this is while not currently a serious deal, I do think that any calf injury can become something much more serious. So they can tell us it's not serious or it's not that big of a concern, but I'll tell you this now. Calf injuries are nothing to play with, and I hope it's just a strain or whatnot, and he can get back to being full healthy soon. But I am concerned about Jennings and his health. He wants a contract. That's awesome. That's great. But right now, if I'm San Francisco, I'm like, maybe not, because I want you to be healthy and prove you can be healthy. And the one thing you don't want to do is sign a guy with a calf strain, and that becomes worse. And look, Juwan's a great player, but I really am concerned with his health and his calf injury. Jacob Cowing, he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. He didn't practice today. Bernardo Green, same thing, 2 to 3 weeks. He didn't practice today. Jordan James, rookie running back out of Oregon, did not practice today. Not exactly sure why. He's looked really good the last couple of days. But unknown as to why he didn't practice, but did not take any reps or was seen throughout the day. The other guy, Diamador Lenore, also did not practice. My assumption is it's going to be a veteran rest day, but there was no confirmation of that from the coaching staff or the trainers at the facility. So don't know why Lenore didn't practice. Don't know why James didn't practice. The team also announced that Taron Jackson, he is going to go on injured reserve, and his season probably is over. Again, a pretty scary sight going to the hospital and going to Stanford. Although he's out of the hospital now, it does seem like he'll be on IR probably for the rest of the year. The team did sign edge rusher Jalen Allen to replace him. So they've already kind of moved off of Jackson. He's still there. He'll still get paid, but they already found his 90-man roster replacement. And Allen was kind of a mixed bag on the day during 1v1s. He's a lighter edge rusher, about 250-ish pounds. So definitely more of a speed guy than power player. On the outside, had a few nice wins against Isaac Alarson, one of the tackles San Francisco has. But funny enough, maybe a good showing early. He got bullied later, though, during 1v1s by Sebastian Gutierrez and Alarson himself. So probably another camp body like Jackson was going to be. But there's certainly some upside with Jalen Allen. I know he's being one of the UFL guys and getting hyped up, but it just seems like a guy that really only has one role at the NFL level, and that is kind of already clogged up by Bryce Huff. So maybe that changes, but Jackson on IR, Allen was signed, a mixed bag. Wasn't too impressed, and rather was probably unimpressed by his lack of strength at the edge rusher position. But the biggest injury news of the day, that was from Michael Williams. I don't know what happened. He had a really strong day yesterday. First day of pads, looked good. But according to, I think it was Nick Wagner of ESPN, Michael has a minor ankle injury. I don't know when that was sustained or when it happened or if that is going to linger. But he had an ankle injury last year at Georgia that didn't cost him any games, and he played through it. So I'm hoping it's not the same ankle or the same thing. But Michael and ankle injuries may be a marriage you don't want to see take place. So I would keep an eye on that. Again, Michael did not practice today with a minor ankle injury, which is a concern knowing his collegiate injury history, mainly last season with the Georgia Bulldogs. We did get some good news, though, or at least some continued good news. Linebacker Curtis Robinson was doing a more extensive workout today with the linebackers, or at least with a trainer at the linebacker position, I should say. And then Renardo Green, hamstring injury, not going to practice for about 2 to 3 weeks, was already back on the field on the sideline today doing a very light workout. So some good news already in regards to Renardo Green's recovery. We also got another Brandon Aiyuk sighting. He made an appearance once again, helping out the wide receivers, being a presence on the field, a positive one that is. And it's really good to see a veteran player that is going through his own rehab where he could be away from the team and only be in meetings, but again, making his presence felt, being out on the football field, talking to his receivers, the coaching staff, being a positive, I guess you can say, a presence or cloud or whatever you want to put it as. Aiyuk is a thumbs up, I guess you can say, without even practicing thus far. Even Klay Kubiak, the team's offensive coordinator, hyped up Aiyuk's involvement in meetings, in practices, despite not being able to actually practice. So it's good to see, good to hear that and see that after a pretty tumultuous 2024 campaign for both teams, but also between the two parties. So there is some good news out of the Aiyuk not being able to practice just yet camp. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. All these injuries, Joseph Ehrenberg in the YouTube chat says this, all these injuries starting to feel like last off season. I won't go that far. They are like, the vibes are 10 times better. Like, everyone's in a good mood. They're hyped up. They don't have that kind of stain of a Super Bowl loss on their back. And I think for the most part, everybody's been healthy. Again, there's been the wide receiver room, to me, is a bigger concern in regards to health than others out there. But I get it. Whenever you see Niners injuries, you start to go, oh my God, here we go again. And they have been piling up again, mainly at wide receiver. Then you have Green and Micah Williams too. But I'll just add that Green and Cowing and Pearsall and even Michael, all those guys should be back before week 1, let alone week 2 of preseason. So that should kind of quell itself down and not be that big of an issue down the road. But I get it though. Like, the Jawan one for sure does kind of make me go, what is that? How serious could that be? Joseph also says here on the YouTube chat, Mac Jones is silently outplaying Brock Purdy. That depends on how you look at it. I think both guys have been pretty good. I think both guys today were also pretty good, albeit I think Brock outplayed Mac Jones today. I think, I think some people, I think Grant Cohn said that Jones has like a 77% completion rate in camp. I don't really care about training camp completion percentage. It mattered more to me. And when I look back, I'm like, that's dumb. But like, looking back when the Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo stuff, like, every throw mattered. And so every little like nitty gritty detail was being discussed. And I much more was intrigued and cared about those things as time progressed. But even then, put much more weight into preseason games because both guys played a lot than training camp stats. I really don't care about training camp stats. I get it. That said, like, training camp stats can be skewed in a big way. Like, let's say it's a quarterback, Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, and Shanahan's telling these guys, hey, work on this thing. Okay, well, that one thing can lead to an interception. Or even like today, like CJ West as defensive tackle. Yes, he won 3 or 4 of his reps in 1v1s, but was trying to mix in more of a pass rush plan. Okay, he didn't win all 4 reps for a reason, right? So I think if you're looking to like figure out who's better and worse and you're not there every single day, I get stats are kind of the one thing you can rely on to do that. But if you are there every single day or you have been there for a portion of time throughout the last couple of years or so, we should know by now that stats really aren't that important to follow in training camp. They can be at times, like you'll hear say, a PBU or an interception or like a would-be sack. And like, I don't say those things so that we start racking up a big box score. It's more to point out that that was a good play by the said player. Now, that doesn't mean that because the interior defensive tackle didn't make a good play either, but maybe he took up two guys and ate up some space and did a good job, right? It's the same thing in regards to that too. So I think Mac has had a really good training camp thus far. He looks very comfortable in the offense, and I think we'll make Kyle pretty happy with who his quarterback 2 is. Then again, there's no competitions or whatnot. I think Brock has also been equally as good as Mac Jones, if not better at times. It depends on your flavor of quarterback too. Mac, has a really strong arm, and I think has pushed the ball downfield a lot, but even Brock today did that too. So I would not say by any means that Mac Jones has outplayed Brock Purdy. Unless you are strictly watching the box score, which again, like even a box score itself, let's say Brock is 1 for 5, which he wasn't, but let's say he's 1 for 5 or 7 for 10. And Mac Jones was 10 for 10. But like 9 of those 10 completions were checkdowns. Like, okay, like, yeah, take a checkdown here or there, but like, why does it matter? like, quarterbacks can't get sacked. Like, there's so many things working against the defenses in training camp that like really do favor the offenses and stuff. So, again, training camp stats just don't really matter to me. Nor would I say Mac Jones has outplayed Brock Purdy. Been good. Not hating on him at all. Mac has looked really good, but not outplayed Brock Purdy. Cal Chipto says here, people still looking at training camp stats. Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. You're not there. That's the only thing you have. But there's so much more going on during training camp and practices than those things. Khalil Young's in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much, Khalil Young. In here, Tommy Huxley, the fairies are out to play. Yes, we are, brother. The fairies are here. He says Mac Daddy Jones is better than Jimmy G String. Klee Young asks here in the YouTube chat, when was Jones taking reps with the ones? Mac Jones is only taking first team reps when Brock Purdy missed practice on Friday because he was having a baby. So I don't think, again, there is no quarterback competition whatsoever at all. Like, end it. It's not going to happen. There may be some trying to create that with the training camp stats conversation, but there is literally no quarterback competition happening. Anybody telling you that is wrong. Anybody even hinting towards that being a thing is wrong. And yes, Kyle Chipto here. Coaches hate checkdowns during practice. Hate it. I think there are times they don't if like everyone's covered. But even then, again, going back to that box score stuff and the stats stuff, if quarterbacks are forcing throws where a play looks like it's dead, coaches hate that too. So there's so many factors that go into why training camp stats don't matter. Niners Minded says here, congrats to Brock and his wife. Yes, on their baby completely. Millie, Jolene Purdy is her name. She's a little girl. Brock is a girl dad now. And yes, congratulations to them. But I want to continue with the show and the notes I have from day 6 of training camp. It was a much lighter day of training camp than the first day of pads. You had yesterday, guys were yelling and screaming and trying to take each other's heads off. It's amped up at the wazoo, if you will. Today was a much lighter day leading into an off day tomorrow. So not as intense. There was some intensity for sure. We had a big scuffle today, but not as intense from an overall standpoint as yesterday. We also did get some sloppy play by the offensive line. A lot of penalties. Now, that usually isn't that big of a deal. Especially early on in training camp, you're kind of installing the offense. New guys are in there. You have backup guards and backup tackles, and everyone's trying to get themselves figured out. But penalties are never a great thing. And so you had not just like false starts. Like false starts are easier to kind of forgive. Oh, it's the wrong snap. Count. Oh, there was miscommunication. But a lot of holding calls today, even during 1v1s, a lot of holding calls. So there are certainly things to clean up. Obviously, some of that is dictated by, maybe a tackle or a guard panicking and just grabbing someone and like not wanting to let go and whatnot. But a sloppier practice today by the San Francisco 49ers. Tommy Huxley says here, Sterling's favorite football movie is Ace Ventura. Honestly, I don't really know if I have a favorite football movie. Like baseball, you have Major League, you have Moneyball. Honestly, I even like Major League 3, Back to the Minors. Like there's so many great baseball movies, but football, like Invincible's good. What's the one that has Tony Danza playing the kicker from the Packers, like with the messed up foot? That one's also pretty good. What else? Like, here's the thing. I have never seen Remember the Titans. I just haven't seen it. I heard it's great. It's always memed on, but never seen it. But I don't think I have. I like going back to my childhood. Like, what was the one with like the Ernie Davis story? What was that one called? Like Train or something like that. That one was good. The Invincible movie is good. The Longest Yard's also great. The classic, original, and the new one's also good too. There's so many good ones. Khalil Young and Niners Minded both say Rudy in the YouTube chat. Again, my first love was baseball. That's what I played throughout my entire life growing up and everything. But so my heart can tell you 90,000 baseball movies, but football, like Rudy's one, Invincible's one. I'm really trying to think back in my mind. Again, Longest Yard is one. Gridiron Gang's also pretty good with The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, that is. That's also a pretty good movie. And Exhibit was in that movie, man. Pit my Gridiron Gang, brother. Niners Minded said here, you look like a baseball player. That's because I was a baseball player. Bull Durham's also great for baseball. Yes. My college roommate called it Bull Durham, and that pissed the living crap out of me when we were together in college. I was like, Jesus, man, it's Bull Durham. Please get it right. Sandlot is Niners Minded favorite baseball movie. Again, sports movies are phenomenal. My wife hates sports. She'll never watch them with me, but I'm very intrigued by Jordan Peele's new football movie coming out. What is it called? Him. It looks freaky. It looks creepy. I love horror. I am very interested to see what the reviews are before I go see that, because it's like Marlon Wayans and stuff is in that. So it definitely has me, my interest is piqued as to what that'll be like when it comes out. Braden Miller asks here in the YouTube chat, how are we feeling about Isaiah Nayor? Kind of like Kawachipto predicted, so shout out you, Kawachipto. The last 2 days of padded practices, he really hasn't been a factor. Now, maybe that changes, but I know he had that big play earlier in training camp, and all that was great. He has the build to be an awesome player, but so far just has not really found his footing with the pads on. Hope he does well. Again, when you have that build, like 6'4", like 200 plus pounds, like it screams you have the archetypal build to be an awesome player. But the last 2 days has just really not been a factor at all during practice. But I do want to get to my actual training camp day takeaways. Love the movie conversation, but I do want to get into Brock Purdy's day, because Joseph Ehrenberg said on the first comments, Mac Jones has been outplaying Brock Purdy. Well, Mac Jones was fine today, but the eyes were on Brock Purdy, who was really good again for a second consecutive practice. He was 7 for 11. Now, many of those completions and incompletions could have been sacks, maybe would have been sacks. There was some plays where Brock, was holding on to the football because there was nobody open. And at that point in time, it's like you just say, screw it and throw the football away. In actual games, but in practice, you force plays to try new things, but also just don't want to have a dead play. Like you don't waste plays in practice. So Again, 7 for 11 with a grain of salt, as I'll put that. One thing that has been just very clear from the beginning of training camp and practice, and really ever since Brock has become the starting quarterback, is his chemistry with George Kittle is off the charts still. Like, I didn't think it would change, but just like every practice, there has been that one big George Kittle play. And Kittle, getting older, getting a new contract, like he looks the same. He's quick, he's big, he's strong. One of the best, if not the best, tight end in the entire league last season. He's continually involved in what seems like the biggest play of the day. And yesterday it happened to him for like a 60-plus yard touchdown pass. Today, although not that long, like the first play of team drill was just like, boop, there's Kittle, 35 yards, 40 yards downfield. Like, oh, wow, like right down the seam. So again, Purdy and Kittle are intertwined at the hip. It's so impressive to watch on a day in, day out basis from the quarterback and tight end out there in San Francisco. Purdy also hit Russell Gage in the corner of the end zone. The one thing I love about Russell Gage is his build, but also his willingness and ability to go up for the football. The quarterbacks have been high targeting him in the red zone a lot, and that's what you want. This team could not score points in the red zone last year. And if you have a guy that maybe isn't your number one, number two, number three, but your 4 or 5 guy, he comes in during red zone drills that can be that player for you. Russell Gage has been, again, I think, probably one of the most impressive receivers in training camp. Caught a touchdown today. There was some deliberation asked. Did he get down? Where's he in bounds? I'll give it to him. He certainly was advocating for that. So again, Russell Gage, big touchdown today in the end zone from Brock Purdy, which I love the build. Go up and get it. Do that. Give the offense a weapon to utilize in the red zone. That's been Gage so far. Purdy also had a really nice layered throw, almost perfect, to Demarcus Robinson for about 15 yards downfield. So Purdy was certainly having himself a day. But his biggest throw and best throw of the day, you saw it on social media. Everyone's talking about it. That is a 40-plus, 50-ish yard pass through the air. So the air yards were accumulated on this play. To rookie Jordan Watkins. Purdy is getting pressure towards his right, maneuvers up in the pocket, sets his feet, and fires downfield. And I'm talking not just like, oh, he threw it up, Watkins waited for it. No. This was a step up, unlock the hips and go throw for Purdy. It was in stride, right in his hands. It was Watkins running under the football. Boom. Just a perfect pass from Brock Purdy for what would have been a 40, 50, 60-yard plus touchdown to Jordan Watkins, who burnt Darrell Luter Jr. and Jason Pinnock in coverage. So again, a very, very good day for Brock Purdy. Now, again, like, practice is practice, and some things may not happen, like the odds you're playing Jason Pinnock and Darrell Luter Jr. May not be there. But I'll tell you this, though, with how thin the wide receiver room is now, Jordan Watkins getting some more first-team reps, that's good in itself. And look, Joseph's saying here, that was a fluke play. It would never happen in an actual game. I'll push back and say broken plays happen all the time in the NFL. Sometimes the quarterback doesn't see it. Sometimes it's an overthrow or underthrow, and sometimes it just kind of goes for naught. But broken plays happen all the time. So I push back on you, and look, I get it here. Like, maybe Purdy isn't making that play during the game, but a couple of years ago, even last year at times, early in the season, Purdy's making that play often, or more often than not. So I wouldn't expect 40, 50-yard touchdown passes from Purdy on an every game basis, but I definitely would disagree with the fact that those plays won't happen during the season. Maybe it's harder to, again, maybe they're working on things we don't know about, but it still happened. Purdy has the arm strength, clearly. And if Watkins can be a receiver that can go out there and get it like that, maybe you'll see some things change. San Francisco at this point in time, pre-Watkins playing his actual NFL games, they haven't had that. So if Watkins can be that deep ball receiver for them, maybe things change. We haven't seen Brock with those guys yet. So again, we shall see as time progresses. But again, I want to push back on the thought that that won't happen during the regular season. Lori Matthews says, "What's up, everyone? What's up, Lori from Phoenix? Always great to have you in here." She says, "Kittle will have another great season. Book it." And I think that may be the obvious, yeah, book Kittle having a great season. He's always great. Kittle's always great. That said, it wasn't a perfect day for Brock Purdy. There was a hiccup along the way where there has been really good. There has been some bad. Today there was a play where Brock ran a bootleg to his left and reset his feet, and nobody was open. He did then force a throw that was picked off by linebacker Luke Gifford. Just like, let's say, back to Joseph Ehrenberg's point of, Jordan Watkins and the big deep ball wouldn't happen during the actual games. I'd push back and say on this play, on the pick, Brock's probably not going to force this throw. And he's probably going to run the football or just throw it away. So again, where there is a big touchdown pass you think won't happen, I can push back and say his pick may not have happened either come game time. So there is good and bad. There's give and take. So again, that's why practice is practice. And that's why it's so important to kind of take things in stride and say, okay, like if you don't believe the big touchdown pass may happen, then let's point as to why his bad play wouldn't happen either. But there was a very funny moment on the day because Purdy throws the pick, right? And immediately Kittle turns around and says, "Hey," and he points to the media and says, "Don't tweet that shit." So it was like, oh, so Kittle's having a good time. The vibes are good at practice, and clearly making a moment where maybe a quarterback or a head coach or even a player would get upset. Kittle making it lighthearted, not taking things too seriously, which he never does. But again, like, we're all having fun. Like, Kittle's hilarious. It's awesome. And so, man, it's also good to have Kittle. Like, Kittle's great in the locker room, great with the media. Like, Kittle is one of those players where if you can have him mic'd up every single week, you could. But also, like, if you haven't had the chance to go to practice, whether it's with the media or with the fans, like, you just want to be as close to him as you possibly can because, one, he'll talk to you, he'll interact with you, but two, like, the things he says, the conversations that he's having with teammates and coaches and whatnot, he is just a ball of energy, as you guys can already tell, but he's just so fun. Like, if there's one guy on the team you want to party with, his name is George Kittle. Like, he's in for a good time all the time. Moving along to the wide receiver room because, like I already said, there is some concerns about Juwan Jennings' calf. How concerned, I don't know, but they're getting pretty thin at wide receiver. Jennings didn't practice. Cowan didn't practice. Aiyuk is going to be out for a while. Pearsall, who had a rest day, didn't practice too. They're incredibly thin at wide receiver. And you like DeMarcus Robinson. Gage has been really good so far, but look at that kind of first five, right? Pearsall, Cowan, Jennings, Robinson, and Aiyuk. If Robinson's out for a couple games and Aiyuk's hurt until November, that's two guys already gone. But then if Jennings' calf injury lingers, and let's say Cowan, who we may like and hope he can be good, doesn't really perform well once he comes back from injury, you really only have one guy, and that's Pearsall. And Russell Gage, who even then Russell Gage shouldn't be your receiver too. So I don't know if they need to go sign somebody or trade for somebody, but I'm a bit more concerned than I was coming into the season, mainly because Jennings is now hurt and so is Cowan. But, once Pearsall comes back and once Cowan comes back and Jennings comes back, maybe that'll kind of, be set aside. But right now, they're having Equinemius St. Brown and Jordan Watkins and Isaiah Hodgins and Gage and, in previous practices before he got cut, Quintez Cephas, like all those guys are taking first team reps mixing in. So I get it's really early, so we don't panic, but it's a little concerning. And I think San Francisco may have to make a move somewhere. There's 4 weeks until cut down day, so there's plenty of time to do that. And for these guys to get healthy, but I don't know if that's Gabe Davis or Amari Cooper or somebody else. I think it'll be a smaller name, but the longer this lingers and it continues to be a problem, the more pressing a need to find an actual like consistent player receiver comes into play because again it's early, so whatever, but the longer this thing transpires, the more of an eyebrow raise it will be for me especially. Kyle Chipto says here, deep crossers are a key piece of the offense. If you're gonna troll, you can try harder than that. I'm assuming you're referring to Joseph, which, hey, look, it's all due respect to Joseph. We just disagree. It's no hate. It's all love, brother. Happy you're in here. But man, Lori says, just run the football. uh, yeah, you could just do that too. But yeah, look, I mean, it's practice. It happens. Moving along to the trenches. The best place when there's pads on to look is the trenches. And we got a lot of great stuff today from the offensive line and the defensive line. We had our second scuffle of practice. The first one was like, I guess I'll phrase it as some jibber jabber between Lenore and Juwan Jennings, both those guys on practice today. So they were not involved in this one, but this time it was after his breakout session yesterday, CJ West getting involved with some pushing and shoving against the offensive line. Not exactly sure what transpired, but it ended up with Matt Hennessy, one of the guards, and West kind of going toe-to-toe and pushing back, and there was kind of a little huddle forming. There were some other guys getting involved in things, but it got broken up fairly quickly, and it kind of, after that, was not a big deal, and certainly practice continued, but that was a minor scuffle, and honestly, though, I don't hate it, because what it shows me is that Lenore and Jennings are bringing intensity a couple of days ago, and then you're having CJ West off his best day of practice so far, coming in hot, wanting to make some plays and kind of rough some guys up. So love the intensity. Love its younger guys, mainly West, carrying that intensity over. And really goes into why he's become one of the more impressive players through now 6 days of practice. But getting more into the 1-versus-1s, San Francisco, more so today than yesterday, took a kind of, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but more of a cautious approach to the starting offensive line. Ben Barch is already out, but Trent Williams did, like yesterday, just one rep of 1-versus-1s, and just like yesterday, beat Nick Bosa in his one rep. But also Jake Brendel did only one rep and beat or held up well against Evan Anderson. And Dominic Pooney also did one rep. So they are kind of handling the offensive line with some caution, being like, hey, you're doing one rep, guys, and then get out of there. So not sure if that was because of health or because it was a lighter day, but they are certainly kind of handling things with kids' gloves when it comes to players' health, giving guys more days off than usual already early on in training camp. That said, we got, I think, one of the marquee matchups of the day between Nick Bosa and Colton McKivitz. It was one of the rare times you see two players say, I want to face that guy over and over and over again during 1-versus-1s. It was Nick Bosa and Colton McKivitz. And the first rep, Bosa won. Just nasty spin move, got McKivitz. He was like, whoa! And Bosa was just gone. And it was like, yep, that's a defensive player of the year right there for you. But then the next rep, McKivitz comes back and holds off Bosa. Now Bosa slipped out of his stance, but McKivitz got him, took advantage of that, and held him off. It was like, okay. Bosa, though, immediately was like, again, we're going again. That was BS. I want you again, which you rarely ever see happen. And so Bosa signals for, let's kind of rewind this thing and redo this rep, and they do it. And Bosa pushed him back and utilized that power, but McKivitz kind of held strong, and it was a give and take, certainly. So you had 3 reps. Bosa wins one, McKivitz win the other, and a draw. So he was 1 for 1 for 1 on the day for Nick Bosa during 1v1s. It was impressive. It was also good to see Nick, spin move McKivitz out of his cleats, but also McKivitz bounce back and hold his own against, a top 5 edge rusher in football. The next thing I want to get into is, I guess, continuing with Nick Bosa, because Nick Bosa, for his, I guess you can say, not winning ways during the 1v1s, again, a win, a loss, and a draw, Nick Bosa was wreaking havoc, wrecking shop all over the place, all over the place during team drills. It has become to a point, or has come to a point, where Nick Bosa looks unstoppable. Now, I'm not sure if that's because he's going against, McKivitz and other guys in there, but even then, like, Nick just looks like he is, I don't want to say rejuvenated or just looks better, but Nick is just showing that he can win whoever he's going against. Beat Trent a couple times yesterday in team drills, and kind of had his way with the offensive line today again. So Nick is looking like the former defensive player of the year that he is. Really, it's so hard to be impressed by players that are already like Fred Warner is great, right? Like, they have to do so much to impress you because they're already doing it often. But Nick, this first 6 days or so, the last 2 days of pads have just been, man, like, you kind of get goosebumps. Like, what Nick Bosa can we be in store for this season? And yes, like, you have to have that Nick Bosa. You have to have that defensive player of the year, Nick Bosa, especially with so many younger guys in that room and rotating in. You have Michael, you have Alfred Collins and West and Bryce Huff, and you have some unproven guys and Sam Owen, Yetur Gross-Matos. You have to have Nick Bosa lead, and he's looking like the leader you want him to be, certainly, or especially on the field. Again, he looks borderline unstoppable through the first 2 days of padded practices. And I'll tell you this too, Bryce Huff's getting there too. Like, there was a kind of a learning curve, if you will, for him. Like, it was a slower process early for him, but Bryce Huff is starting to look like the guy you brought in to be the third down edge rusher, and he has that speed rush. He himself had his way with Austin Pleasance during a drill. Again, like Bosa, a nasty spin move, got right by me. It was like, holy crap. Like, I can see why, he was very coveted by Philadelphia. Last offseason didn't work out, but now in San Francisco, the Bryce Huff looks really good, especially as that speed rusher. So you talk about kind of the bookends of the defensive line. Huff probably won't be out there on a 3-down basis, but when they are together, you're getting some special like skill sets on both sides. So love to see it. Great work, Nick and Bryce have having themselves a day at practice. Filthy Casual asks, how was Huff versus Trent? I'm not sure if I saw Huff go against Trent. Again, Trent only has done the one 1v1 drill, or the one rep during 1v1s. But other than that, it's been, Huff's not really been working with the first team, I may add, so that probably will kind of give you more context. He did yesterday a little bit, but Huff, I don't think, did go against Trent today. He's been more in the second team defense with, Spencer Burford and Austin Pleasance as the tackles. So haven't seen too much of that, but I'm hoping as camp progresses and maybe Trent does some more team drills or some more 1v1s, we'll get that, because I really do want to see it where like, it's also important for Huff, who had a really down year last year, was a healthy scratch in the Super Bowl. Go against Trent, have him help your game too. So haven't seen much of that. At least I haven't seen that, but maybe soon. Maybe if Michael's out for a longer period of time, maybe if Michael is out for a couple of weeks or so, maybe Huff is kind of put in that position, but didn't see much of that today or yesterday, I may add. That said, want to get back to CJ West, defensive tackle. He wasn't perfect today. I know he wasn't perfect. Boo, boo, boo. But he still won 3 of his 4 reps. And that 4th rep really wasn't a loss, more of a draw against Drew Moss. He just knows how to win with power. He just knows. And again, you can talk about, well, it's a third string guard. He beat Purdy yesterday, made him look foolish yesterday. But today you can tell West working alongside Chris Kosaric and those guys with the defensive line. He was trying new things more than just power. So not sure if that may have contributed to his one draw during 1v1s. But West, again, continues to look like a really solid find on day 3, which we already knew he'd be that. But I'm going to hype up the guys that deserve it, and West deserves the hype through the first 2 days of padded practices. Moving to the offensive line for 1 second, because Spencer Burford, not really much to take away from him during practice, but worth mentioning that the San Francisco 49ers redid his contract, giving him more guaranteed money this year as he works as this team's backup left tackle. So maybe that's to say, good for your efforts. We appreciate you. But clearly they see something. I don't know how much in him, but they see something to maybe sweeten the pot and say, hey, look, like, we believe in you as this team's backup left tackle. So that's all I have there from him. But Austin Pleasance, who has been working as the team's backup right tackle with Andre Dillard still injured, not practicing, he's getting all these second team reps at right tackle, I may add. But during 1v1s, he beat Robert Beal Jr. and Sam Okawanu. But then again, Bryce Huff just deked him out of his shoes with the spin. But I mainly brought him up because the coaching staff, Chris Forrester, which I know he's kind of got some heat for how bad the O-line played last year and in previous seasons too, but they are seemingly pleased with how Austin Pleasance has played. And if Dillard's not going to be healthy, then that's your right tackle. I don't love that like at all. And I think there's a real concern with how the offensive how the O-line's played, because again, Bosa has had his way with them, and a lot of the quarterbacks have had or been pressured a lot the last couple of days with pads on. So it is concerning. I do think that while they may say Austin Pleasance looks good and he's been fine, there really hasn't been like too many ugly looks from him, but for a team that you'd like some more offensive line depth or insulation, I'm not sure Pleasance is that. I really don't think Pleasance is a backup right tackle caliber player. Maybe I see more during the rest of training camp and preseason, but I would feel a lot more comfortable with somebody else more proven. Granted, that's hard to find in the NFL, but it's becoming kind of comical how much San Francisco likes these kind of journeyman offensive linemen that maybe haven't been great elsewhere, but come in and do perform pretty well for them and fit their scheme better. So maybe that's me being a little more judgmental on Pleasance's history, and maybe I'll see more during the next couple of weeks or so. But they like him a lot. It seems like he has kind of the inside track to make that right tackle backup spot on the roster if Dillard isn't healthy. But I'm hoping Dillard is healthy eventually, because I want to see them battle it out and have the best man win. So not sure where Dillard's at in his recovery, but he hasn't practiced, I think, maybe outside of one time, if at all. So we'll see. We'll see. But again, it's hard to find those guys. I think had they signed actually DJ Humphries, it would be different, but that didn't happen. So here we are. But moving along to the defense, because we have to get to D Winters and some of their standouts. But first, I want to let you know, go to SeatGeek.com and use our promo code 49ers Access right here on your screen, and it's down below, linked in the description. SeatGeek.com. Find your tickets for Niner games, NFL games, MLB games, concert tickets, whatever else you want to buy there, and use that promo code 49ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. Free money. Take free money. If someone on the street says, here's $100, would you take it? Of course. If someone says, here's $20, would you take it? I know I would. It's $20. I'm giving you that too. So take it. buy yourself and your family some tickets and get a discount on me at SeatGeek.com. Okay, let's move to the defense. All right, Calachipto in the YouTube comments saying acting like backup linemen are supposed to beat top 10 edge rushers. I get it. It's Bryce Huff against Austin Pleasance. But I'll tell you this. While the expectation should not be for Pleasance to beat out Bryce Huff consistently, if somebody goes down, they're facing Bryce Huff consistently or an opposing edge rusher. So you shouldn't expect it, but you should at least be like, hey, you may play at one time this year. And that could be a disaster for San Francisco. But again, I'm holding judgment. I will always leave room to be wrong. I don't mind being wrong if the player is good. If the player is bad and I'm wrong, then it's the worst day in the world and we're all having a pity party. But moving along to the defense, because D. Winters continued his impressive streak of practices. Wasn't as maybe noteworthy as the last couple were, but I want to bring up one of his reps during 1v1s because when you best Christian McCaffrey, that deserves to be talked about because 1v1s, CMC versus D. Winters, they're going at it. McCaffrey's doing his rep, tries to get by him, and Winters just reaches in there and rips the ball out of his hands. And it was like, wow. All right, D. Winters, I will move out of your way. Make way. The linebacker 2 is in the building, folks. But again, D has been great. Had a big PBU during team drills early on. So D. Winters continues to be a good and steady presence at linebacker. Jalen Mahoney, what, like the 5th or 6th safety on the roster, probably a practice squad special teamer. I do like Jalen Mahoney, though, on special teams. He himself got some action today during the 1v1s and got a nice PBU against Luke Farrell, albeit Luke Farrell's not really a receiving threat. And it has not really looked great during training camp, but he's a blocking tight end, and it's kind of hard to get an idea as to where he is. I'm sure he'll start the first preseason game with the first team offense, but not been a great receiver, which I'm not too shocked about because he's not one of those guys. But nonetheless, Jalen Mahoney gets a PBU against the tight end number 2. Darrell Luter Jr. also making some headway in the cornerback room, continues to get first team reps today. He got almost the brunt of the first team reps above Trey Brown and Dallas Flowers yesterday. That same thing transpired today. Yes, he was one of the cornerbacks that got beat on Purdy's deep ball to Watkins, but other than that, Luter has looked better. Maybe that's because the more reps he's gotten with the first team, you notice him more, but he has looked better. He had a good run stop today during team drills and also notched a PBU in team drills as well. So you're seeing a more flashy performance from Darrell Luter Jr., which is good, which is really good. You want to see draft picks that maybe have not been healthy look good and healthy. Luter has looked better in the last couple of days, and that cornerback job, whether it be 3, 4, 5, or 6, they're all up for grabs. So I'm hoping he can kind of find himself a spot because I think Luter can be a really good depth cornerback with some higher upside on this roster. And I'd rather have Luter Jr. than Siren Neal or the next guy, Trey Avery. But I'm happy for him to finally get some reps with the first team and actually take those in stride and look pretty good in the process. The next guy, already said his name, Trey Avery, ended practice today with a Mac Jones pick 6. So Joseph, Purdy threw a pick, but Mac Jones threw a pick 6. So who looks worse then? I kid. But it was a good kind of capper for the defense on practice and what was a lighter day for the team. Trey Brown also notched himself a PBU during team drills. I think they posted it on Twitter or social media. He was guarding Demarcus Robinson, knocked the ball out of his hands, kind of drove Robinson to the ground, and then kind of celebrated in his own fun way. So Trey Brown looking good too on top of that. And we have to end the show where we end all the shows with the kicking competition. But Lori Matthews says here in the YouTube chat, Winters improving would certainly soften the blow of losing Greenlaw. We need another monster in there. I would agree. Now, I'm not, which funny enough, I'm wearing a Dre Greenlaw jersey currently, if you can see on your screen right now. Maybe not. Now you can probably see it. But I love myself some Dre Greenlaw. Hope he plays great out there in Denver. But having a player like D. Winters, if he can stay healthy, will certainly lessen the blow of losing Dre Greenlaw, which I think a lot of people, not saying this is you, Lori, but a lot of people like the idea of what Dre Greenlaw was, not what he will be going forward. I think that's where I stand on that. I don't think Dre will ever be the same player again, but that's just me. Kawachipto says here, Winters being bigger is huge. Having a body that can hold up is the issue. Yes, bigger, stronger, took the time to learn how to keep himself healthy in the offseason. So hopefully that can maintain itself throughout the training camp and the season. 49ers First Take says, man, Trey Lance about to prove the Niners made a massive mistake in his first preseason game on Thursday. He also adds, I'm obviously just kidding. Aaron, we know you're not kidding. We know you're not kidding. And he's hinting and kind of alluding to Trey Lance starting in tomorrow night's Hall of Fame game for the LA Chargers with Jim Harbaugh as a head coach. I do think having Harbaugh as his head coach may be able to get something more out of Trey Lance. Now, he's not going to play over Herbert, but I also think that like Trey just needs to play. Let Trey play. He should have signed with the Saints. I don't know why he didn't. Go to the Saints. They suck. You can play there. Get your reps. That's where I would have gone. Now, they're a terrible team, but Kellen Moore isn't bad. He's fine. But I do think that Harbaugh will probably be able to get by just simply being a more player-friendly coach, I guess is how you word it. Kyle is that way in his own right, but Harbaugh just is that motivating presence. You want to have Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, those guys, but I'm still rooting for Trey. Just not against us. But Kenny the 49er says here in the YouTube chat too, anyone see Josh Simmons and Ashton Gelati at Chiefs practice today? Well, I wasn't there, so no. But I am pissed off that Josh Simmons' physical is like he's healthy, which happy for him, but pissed off because I think about what he could have been in San Francisco. He is the prototypical Trent Williams replacement. And I'm so peeved that the Chiefs are the team that got him and he's healthy. And it's like, just one more reason to hate Kansas City, but I didn't see him. But everything I've heard has looked pretty good, which again is good for him, but annoying for us out here in San Francisco. Let's also see in the chat. Let's see. Kawachipto says Trey isn't good enough to beat out a Mitter or old man Shaw. Tyler Shugg. I mean, the Saints are probably going to play what Chugg's like 27, 26, right? They're probably going to play him. But I mean, hey, I'd rather have the opportunity to play if I was Trey Lance than be a third string quarterback with the Chargers. Maybe second if you're lucky, but I wouldn't put my money on it. But I'd rather go be and have a chance to be in that conversation. Shock somebody, right? Prove the world wrong. But I really like. I don't watch the Hall of Fame game because why would I? But I may watch tomorrow. I know Trey didn't do well in San Francisco and was rightfully traded away, but I'm still a Trey Lance fan. Like, he's a good guy. I will never root against Trey Lance because I do want him to succeed. Unless, again, it's against San Francisco. Lori Matthews says, because it's football. That's why you watch the Hall of Fame game. Yeah. I mean, or excuse me, on Thursday, not today's Tuesday. My God, my days are all mixed up. Thank you, Kenny. Thursday's Hall of Fame game, not tonight or not tomorrow's. See, still screwed up. But man. Again, back to the kicking competition to wrap things up. They were all perfect. That's all I have to say. Jake and Greg Joseph were perfect from 28, 36, 41, 48. They have the exact same kicking percentage, field goal percentage throughout the first 6 days of training camp. So make of that what you will. Make of it what you will. I don't really care. Don't matter to me. But you guys care. You guys care a lot. So there you go. Perfect. And I think that's a perfect way to end the show. So thank you to everybody in the YouTube chat. Filthy Casual saying it's not Trey Lance's fault. The San Francisco 49ers traded away all those first round draft picks for him. And you are 100% correct. 100% correct. Not Trey's fault where he was picked. Just things didn't go well. He wasn't good in sayonara. Lori Matthews says, we only care to make those kicks in the games. Yes, games are all that matter, not Mac Jones's quarterback completion rate in training camp. Who cares? Not important. Not important at all. But thank you, Lori. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Filthy Casual, Kawachipto, Aaron from 49ers First Takes. All of you are great. Even Joseph Ehrenberg, 49er Minded, Tommy Huxley. Thank you all for joining the show. Braden Miller as well. All you guys are great and phenomenal. I appreciate every single one of you in there. Hope you guys can like, share, and subscribe to the show if you already aren't. And follow us on social media at 49ers_access is the Twitter. 49ers.access is the Instagram. Use that promo code 49ersaccess, 49ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. And JD Durham also in the chat. Thumbs up back to you, brother. Thank you for being in here on a Tuesday night before an off day for the San Francisco 49ers. I am still searching for 100 audio podcast reviews, so click that link down below. Give us a review, whether it's on Apple or Spotify or Google. 100 audio podcast reviews by the time week 1 comes around. But that's all I have for you today. My name is Sterling Bennett, and as always, until next time, day off tomorrow, back right here for training camp coverage on Thursday. And as always, stay faithful.